watching musical theater MASH.
Hold on to your shadows. Peter Pan is flying back to NBC this Thursday. And anecdotal predictions are mixed. Either it'll fly spectacularly into the London sky or splash catastrophically down into the Thames. Allison Williams, Christopher Walken, Christian Borle, Kelly O'Hara, and a slew of other Broadway regulars are all gonna be there. But how did Peter Pan make it to NBC? 2 words: color television. It's 1945. World War II has just ended and the United States War Production Board has been dissolved. The typewriter factories that had been converted to machine gun factories go back to making typewriters. Textile factories halt parachute production and go back to shirts and pants, and the ban on non-essential electronic production, like televisions and radios, is lifted. Prior to the war, the Radio Corporation of America, RCA, was just dipping its toes into the realm of color television production. These pre-war experimental color televisions were bulky, expensive, and the broadcast signal was incompatible with the black and white TVs of the day. But with wartime restrictions lifted, testing and production went into full swing, and by 1953, the first color TV broadcast standard was approved by the FCC. But what does this have to do with Peter Pan? RCA was a hardware production company. They made radios and black and white and color televisions. In fact, it was within RCA's labs that the color TV standard approved by the FCC was developed. RCA also founded a radio and later television broadcast studio called the National Broadcasting Company, NBC for short. Within days of the FCC's approval of color television, NBC Studios was ready to broadcast using the new color standard. But nobody owned a color TV yet. It was no small investment. RCA's first color TV cost $1,000 in 1954. That's more than $8,000 in today's money. How do we convince people to make that purchase? With good television. That's how. NBC devised the Producer's Showcase as a marketing tool to help get color TVs out of stores and into living rooms. Every 4th Monday during prime time, a special 90-minute episode would air live in color on NBC. Meanwhile, Mary Martin was headlining the pre-Broadway tryouts of a new musical version of Peter Pan in Los Angeles. It was there, before the show had even moved to Broadway, that NBC producers bought the rights to the musical, with plans to air it on the newly created Producer's Showcase, live and in color. The Broadway production was a smash hit, winning Tonys for both Mary Martin as Peter Pan and Cyril Ritchard as Captain Hook. Almost the entire Broadway cast starred in the television production in 1955. This marked the first full-length Broadway production on color television and attracted a record-setting audience of 65 million viewers. The television production was so successful that they remounted it again in 1956 and then later in 1960. The 1960 version was videotaped in color and is still rebroadcast to this day. And that is the tale of how Peter Pan made it to NBC. This Thursday will be the 4th time Peter Pan will be shown live on NBC. Of course, a lot has changed since 1955. They've written a few new songs, they've got much more extravagant sets, CGI Tinkerbell, and, of course, Christopher Walken. But were it not for the color television push of the mid-1950s, we'd have to be watching a different musical live this Thursday. Want somebody to keep you company through this whole ordeal? Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/musicalmash. I'll be there too, live and in color, I guess. So, second star to the right and straight on till Thursday.